everyone. As promised, I'm delivering you the next episode. This one's going to require a little bit of math, and I'm going to be showing you some slides and labels and things like that, more than just seeing my pretty face walking around my lawn. But we're really going to dive into some really serious stuff with pH and liming. Stay tuned. So let's define what soil pH really is. Soil pH is the measurement that indicates the alkalinity or the acidity of a soil. It's really just reading the concentration of hydrogen ions in the soil, and it can range from 0 to 14. The lower a soil's pH, the more acidic it is. And the higher the pH, the more alkaline the soil is. Soil with a pH of 7 is considered neutral. This is all seen visually here on this slide. Why is having a proper soil pH important? Well, it allows the most nutrients available to the plant to survive weather, heat, excessive rain. So it's actually just getting in the most nutrients as it possibly can to be the healthiest it possibly can. You can see on this graph that with a very, very slightly acidic soil, we get the three macronutrients that are very important to grass all getting absorbed. So that's our nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Then it continues down with sulfur, calcium, iron, some other things in there that are important as well, but not as important as the N, P, and K. If I were to label this, I would say strongly acidic is anything below 4. Your medium acid is like 5. Your slightly acidic is 5.5, maybe to 5.9. And then your very slightly acidic is your 6.2 to 6.8 area. Very slightly alkaline, I would say 7.2 to 7.8. Slightly alkaline, you're getting up there into the 8s, medium 9s, 10s. Strongly acidic, that's your 11s, 12s, 13s. So grass roots take in these nutrients at a microscopic level, and it's transferred chemically through a chemical reaction. And this is a picture of cation exchange. So soils actually become more acidic with grass because it's exchanging a hydrogen atom for, let's say, a potassium atom here, or it could be a nitrogen atom or a calcium. So over time, you're going to see more hydrogen atoms getting into the soil, and we know that hydrogen creates more an acidic environment. So that's one reason that liming is important in western Massachusetts. We also want to keep in mind that in western Massachusetts, we're already starting out at low calcium, and we are in an acidic environment. So starting out, even before grass exchange, cation exchange, things are already starting out in the acid. So we're also lacking in magnesium. So how are we going to correct our acidic soils? The best way of doing this is with limestone, or what we call in the industry lime. There's a few different types of lime out there. There's Dolomitic lime, and there's catalytic lime. Dolomitic lime contains magnesium, which we need as well. So 9 out of 10 times we're going to be going with the Dolomitic lime. Catalytic lime does not have magnesium in it. So let's look back at this soil test. We determined that the soil pH is 5.4 and the calcium levels are low. Let's go back to this suggestion by the lab. So it's wanting us to put 60 pounds per thousand of Dolomitic lime down to correct the pH. It's kind of hard to do that all at once, and we're going to get into different ways of doing this. This is a fair warning. This is where things get squirrely, right? So there's many different ways of correcting our soil pH. And you'll hear a lot of advertising and a lot of different things about it. But in reality, it just comes down to the simplicity of it. Let's take a look. Here we have a newer product on the market that is saying that it can cover this amazing range with as little amount as possible. It's all fast-acting lime, and it's going to change things in weeks instead of months or years. This is a more common one that you see is a Dolomitic Limestone Pro Select, and this has a combination as well. Here we have something that you can get at Ace Hardware. Lastly, this is another one that you can get at Ace Hardware. So which one of these are we going to use to correct our soil pH in Massachusetts? Let's talk about mesh for a second. So mesh is going through different screens, right? So the smaller the mesh, or the higher this number here, the faster the product is actually going to break down and neutralize the lime. Now, all of these limes have some fast-acting abilities to it, right? So this is the part where a lot of you are going to get triggered. That quick release lime that says it can cover 10,000 square feet. Well, yeah, I guess it can cover 10,000 square feet, but it's a very fine prill, and it is going to change it pretty quickly, but it's not going to sustain it. The hydrogen is actually going to take over pretty soon, so you may get a change in 2 to 3 weeks, but not far after that, things are going to start to drop. Common Dolomitic limes are actually going to have a lot more staying power. And I'm going to show you a visual representation of what I'm talking about, but you'll see different rates. And let's take a look right. So here on our fast-acting lime, it's telling us that we need to put down 6 pounds per thousand for maintenance. And if you are adjusting the pH, it's asking you to put down 11.5 pounds per thousand square feet, right? That seems great. Let's go over to here. So we know that we have more of a sandy loamy sand area. So let's say our pH, like in the lab report, 5.3 to 5.6, this is asking for 45 pounds per thousand square feet. This one, who the hell knows? Oh, so this one is asking you to put down 6 pounds per thousand square feet for maintenance. Lastly, this one is asking you, since we're in the sandy loamy area, between 45 and 75 pounds. Let's just go ahead and say that's 50 pounds per thousand for neutralize. This is going to be a visual representation of applying that fast-acting lime at its maintenance rate. So we're going to cover this, let's say this is 8,500 square feet. So we're going to go down, put it down at 6 pounds per thousand. Okay, so that's our rate, right? Everything's great. Well, it's actually going to just get used up very quickly. Now, don't get me wrong, it's strong. It's going to do its job in the next 2-3 weeks, but it's actually going to get acidified pretty rapidly. So now let's take the recommended rate of the slower limes and their recommended application rates. So slower lime, applied heavily and slowly, will actually give you more neutralizing power in the long run. So people will make the argument, well, why don't I get the more expensive fast-acting lime and just apply it at a heavier rate? And you certainly can do that. But again, finer mesh. So even though that you're putting down a heavier application, it's actually going to get used up pretty quick. The neutralizing power is not actually even the same as some of these other ones. Some of you are going to say, okay, well, I know that product that you're pointing out, but it also has other beneficial things in it. That's true, it does. It actually contains iron and iron sulfate at 2%. And I don't even want humic, that's a whole nother episode why that's, but yeah, so let's get into that. Iron is great for lawns, and I use it actually in my own program. But if you're putting it down at the rates that you need it to over the course of time, you're actually going to do more harm than good. An excessive amount of iron applied throughout the season, like let's say we took that product and we applied it heavy, 5-6 times through the course of the year, you're actually building up on your iron, and you can actually get a black layer. You can also turn your actual grass black. Black layer would be the worst thing to happen. It's actually forming a line of metal in the soil where your roots are not even going to be able to penetrate. So watch how much iron you use in your application. So it's not all fire and brimstone, right? You bought the quick release lime, you paid a little extra for it, expecting it to be like the miracle that you were looking for. Go ahead, put it out, apply it, go a little heavy, but just keep in mind it's going to get used up. So once you have applied that, go ahead, invest in getting those 10, 12, 13 bags of your Dolomitic Lime, and you're going to change the pH. Now, don't expect it to happen overnight. This is a process. This is like a 3-year process. So if you're really down there in the 5.5s, you're doing a spring, maybe a summer, and a fall for the next 3 years. So just want to give you a heads up. Now, I know this is going to be a shock to some of you. I mean, my stomach turned when I found out all about this information, because I was a big believer in the fast-acting lime myself. You might need something like this. Quick note: calcium carbonate, neutralizing acid in your stomach, same damn thing. Anyway, oh man, I know this was a long one, kind of boring, but that's the truth about lime, what we have to do here. So I hope you enjoyed, and remember, enjoy your lawn, even if it's a little acidic.